Yay Media Group.
Welcome to My Safe Word is More with your hosts from Survivor and Amazing Race, Corinne Kaplan, stand-up comedian and television personality Al Jackson. I'm your producer, Chris Clark, and this is My Safe Word is More.
That's three-time Emmy-winning producer Chris Clark. Put some respect on his name.
Yes.
What's up, girl?
Well, it was my birthday.
Yes. And I just said happy birthday, and I tried to say a little bit more on the text, and I was disciplined for that. Yeah.
Why?
So I was just like, don't keep going about her birthday.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
She's so smart.
She's very smart.
So today we're going to get into what I did on my birthday and how that all panned out.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Yes.
Happy birthday. Woo.
Enjoy these, man. It's
Yeah.
a good thing. What's the other option?
I think about that a lot.
Yeah.
If you guys want to meet me for a group suicide after this, every year on my birthday, I take stock of my life and like what matters and what I'm going to change. And so we're going to get into a little bit of that. And then I have a listener email that I've been sitting on for a couple weeks now that I promise that I'm going to get to because he needs advice and it's a good advice question.
Okay.
And then we'll see if we have time for a little something extra that I have. But let's kick it off with the birthday stuff. So I don't know how many other people feel like the impending sense of doom around their birthday like I do.
Since the inauguration, I think that number has gone up.
I really genuinely hate my birthday. And I also, here's a fun fact about me. I hate yours also. I hate everyone else's birthdays. I, every year, think to myself, if there's a world in which I could say to you, my birthday present is that we don't celebrate my birthday and then I don't have to celebrate yours.
You don't like going to birthday? I feel like
fucking
you've been to a
don't.
ton of celebrity birthday parties.
Well, celebrity birthday parties is a different story. But also, I'm just somebody that, like, I actually really I go out of my way to celebrate people that are like, do not fucking celebrate me. Do not have a birthday party. That's when I'm like, oh, I'll like start looking for like a gift or something. But the people that are like, it's my birthday, all month is my birthday, this whole week is my birthday. Like, I fucking hate you. I hate you. It is self-indulgent and I hate it. It's like right up there with like, I hate people who are like, oh, what's your sign? And but you're a bossy one or whatever the fuck they come up with.
You're like a birthday Scrooge.
I am. I really, 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 really dislike it. Now, color me interested if you're having a divorce party.
Which I'm surprised didn't catch on more.
I don't know. I will throw you a divorce party. Just say the word. I'll take a week off from my work to plan it.
Because a divorce party, you have
It's
to
something
remember,
to celebrate.
not only is it something to celebrate, as much as you hate the partner you're getting rid of, this person has talked about that partner to those friends throwing that divorce. So they are like, this is a party. They have like, she's finally leaving Kurt.
Yeah.
I am going to get some
always
doves. We're
Kurt.
releasing doves. We've got a white chocolate fountain.
Yeah, you should see how far I will go when we're celebrating something like that. Now, so given that information that you all now have, I am devastated to be turning the age I'm turning, which I'm trying to get more comfortable with. And I basically said to my friends, which I have such incredibly generous, kind friends. Like so many people were like, what are we doing for your birthday? And I was like, I'm not 5, so nothing. But what happened is it coincides with the National Western Livestock Show and my very favorite event that I went to last year. And
lamb tackling.
Mutton racing. No, there's a 90s country cover band that does this like incredible performance. They sell out usually anywhere that they are. And the reason this is significant is because last year, this is where I met Rusty. And if you don't know who that is, it's the only person I've liked in the last fucking 10 years. And I met him at the bar at this event. And if you want to go back and listen, there's plenty of podcasts where you can hear the rise and fall in a 6-week-long relationship that I have now defined my entire life by.
Yeah.
Epic.
I remember Chris and I were really broken up about that.
Yeah.
Not as broken up as I was. So anyway, I'm not normal at all. So I've not even remotely recovered from that, despite not speaking to him since last February. And so I have avoided at all costs my favorite bar. It's where I met him at. Do you want to know why I met him there? Because I used to hang out there all the time. Because I love it. I refuse to go there all summer long. They have an outdoor volleyball court. Like, it's the greatest bar ever. And I just haven't gone this whole time because I don't want to run into him. And it's not so much that I don't want to run into him. I don't want to run into him with some girl. And surely he's met someone by now. He's a great catch.
So then why would they be there? I'm sure he was there to just pull chicks.
No, because I went there. I'm sorry. He lives walking distance, like 2 blocks. I don't give a fuck about triangulating him. He lives very close to number 38, the bar I like to go to.
Yeah, but you don't
Close
go back
enough.
to your old hunting grounds when you're
No.
wifed up.
I think that, okay, well.
Start going to boring places.
So let's operate under that premise. So this whole summer, every time a good music act has come, because they have a huge outdoor stage, they have a huge indoor stage, it's a great bar. And every time a friend asks to go, I'm like, no, I can't go there. I can't go there because the reality is the anxiety it will produce in me to go there thinking I might have to run into him. And the only way I would go there is if I was successfully dating someone else, which will never fucking happen. But if I was dating someone else and I felt comfortable that like I was really into the guy I was dating, then I would go because I wouldn't even notice. It's fine, no big deal. But I'm not going there still desperate, old, single, all the things, and then
stop it.
and then running into him.
What would you do if you saw him there?
That's the problem. It's bad no matter how you slice it. There is no world. I'm going to give you one short story that I've probably told before, but I'm going to tell it again because it's a really good indication of like crazy town population 1. I am completely and totally unhinged when it comes to someone I have dated that I really liked. And I want to stress that I date lots of people. You've heard on this podcast, this year alone, I've thrice dated people. I go on dates, but like I'm talking like dated somebody for like at least several dates.
So real love is when you stalk.
When I really like you, you're fucked forever. For the rest of your life, you're totally fucked. And so in this case, years ago, Lionel, who was like one of my very special exes, we broke up and he lived in Miami and whatever. And then, I don't know, a year or 2 go by and he's in town and he reaches out and I'm obsessed with him still, of course. And I'm like, oh, I'm telling my girlfriends, I was like, Lionel's in town and he wants to meet us out. And of course, I'm just getting him
Are they
in.
like Richie?
What? Like,
do they assume if somebody says Lionel's in town,
oh,
I'm going to see Richie at Red Rocks?
No.
I didn't know he's one word like messy.
This is in LA and this is like the only ex I ever lived with, like everyone knew. And so I was like, yeah, he's gonna come out. And like at the time, I think it was like Vanessa, obviously, Joyce, Matt, they were like, all right, are you cool with this? And I was like, I'm not going to give up an opportunity. He wants to come out. We get a table. Who's the richest friend we have? Like, I am calling in all the fucking, So I throw this like mega party. I don't even remember at this point. I think I made like, I don't even want to say, I don't want to throw him under the bus. Whatever. I made a very famous actor like get involved and like we got tables. I know where we went, the club. And then I had an after hours at my house. And then I had everybody at my house. And at the time I had 2 patios. So people were like smoking on my patios. And like my house was fucking filled to the brim with people. And he was just by the freezer. He opened the freezer door to get ice out of the freezer. I was in the kitchen at the same time at just the right angle. And I just cold cocked him in the face.
What?
I didn't know I was going to do it.
With the refrigerator door?
No, with my fucking fist.
Okay. All right.
And he's 6'6". He goes down because he's not expecting it at all. He's fucked up anyway. It's like 4 a.m. and the party comes to a screeching halt.
Yeah, sucker punches and parties all the time.
He basically like stumbles backward into the wall. It makes a lot of noise. And Joyce is like, oh, we got to get people out of here. Corinne has lost it. Like, this is about to be really bad. And
about to be. I would argue that the plane has hit the mountain.
Lionel's like holding his face and he's like, why? And I was like, you know what you did. And it was like years after it was just... But I am that's why I'm trying to avoid running into Rusty because the reality is I don't know myself well enough to know that I
might punch him in the face.
Yeah, Rusty can't take a punch, I think is what she's worried about.
I'm just saying, like, it's really like, it's unclear what I will do. And funny enough, the best part of this story is I call my mom the next morning, as I do almost every day. I call my mom, but also she's like what you guys call for the confessional. Is it a priest that does that?
Yes.
Yeah. It's that. When I do something really bad, I'm usually like, Mommy! And so I'm like, hey, Ma, I I did something last night. And she's like, okay, what'd you do? Because, it's my mom. She loves me no matter what. And I said,
also your mom's cool as a cat. Like, she'd be like, all right, well, he should have tucked his chin.
so that is literally, she goes, I said, I hit Lionel. And she goes, with your car? I said, no. And she goes, then who fucking cares?
Wow.
So,
well, there was a hammer.
she was just like, is this going to be a manslaughter case? Like, what did you hit him with? So, anyways, going into this birthday, I was very upset. Again, I was wanting to see this 90s cover band. It happened to coincide with my birthday weekend. I basically freaked out because I didn't want to see him. And my friend Michelle came up with a solution to that, which I will tell you after the break, because we did end up going.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so my friend Michelle, I call her to brainstorm because I'm like, everyone is saying the same thing to me. Like, you love this 90s cover band. It is your birthday. This is ridiculous. When are you going to be over this? And I'm like, the 12th of never. I will never be over this. So Michelle goes, listen to me. She's like, because I said, this was my first idea that I spitballed to Michelle. I go, I think he's a nice person. Okay, that's why one of the reasons I fell for him. I think he's a really nice guy. I think that if I send him a text and I say, it's my birthday, can you just not show up on this date, the thing you were at last year? Can you just not go? And Michelle was like, when was the last time you talked to him? And I was like, February of 2024. And she's like, it's got some real loser stench on that. Like, that's...
Oh, yeah.
That's terrible.
Really,
terrible idea.
And I said, I don't care. He's never getting back together with me. I don't care if he thinks I'm a loser. I just don't want him to be there. And I want confirmation that he will not be there. So then I
feel like that would guarantee, if he was even slightly the kind of person that I would want him to be, he'd show up like, oh, I thought you meant next Wednesday.
No. He knows I'm a little deranged. So I don't think he would push the limits like that. So anyways, I call my friend Jessica and she goes, if he shows up, I volunteer to be the person that goes up to him and asks him to leave. And I was like, no, that's not.
Is this fucking Roadhouse? You can't do that.
So I go, that's not good enough because he will have already ruined my night. If I have to lay eyes on him with whatever fucking dog pound he's dating now, I am going to lose my shit. On both of them, on everyone at the bar, who knows? And so I go, that's not a solution. And then Michelle had the great idea. She goes, he's a kind person, right? Why don't we just go on Instagram and like hype this up? And he watches my Instagram stories. She goes, and then he'll see that you're going to be at this and he won't go because he's a better person than that. And I was like, okay, all right. Like I wasn't sure I was going to do that, but I start testing this out. So 2 weeks ahead, I start, who's going to this event? And then Michelle is like, Corinne's birthday, who's going? And I regram. Now, mind you, my dumbass is thinking, I mean, it's not, I absolutely was not trying to throw any kind of birthday party at all.
I was about to say, you're doing all the things you say you hate.
I know. And so
2 weeks from now, block your
all
weekend
of a
off.
sudden, all of these people start hitting me up. They're like, oh, are we going for your birthday? And I was like, no, I hate that responsibility. I was like, so now I'm explaining to all these people who don't even know he existed because he existed in my life for a total of 6 weeks. I'm now explaining to people, that
your birthday invite was a disinvite.
Was just a fucking
for
invitation,
one person,
right?
But not an invite to the open forum of people that can see your story.
Right. And I'm like, tickets are going to sell out. Better get your ticket. But not you, And so anyways, I become comfortable. I could see that he's seen the stories and I had my friends service them out. So I can see that I'm comfortable that he's not going to go, which is a big thing for me to say. So I begin getting excited for this event. Now, I'm still not interested in it being my birthday. I'm just excited to go to a 90s cover band. And so I decide I'm going to get like a whole outfit together. And I'm very excited for this outfit. So I buy this dress at Anthropologie, which is one of my very favorite stores. And in the picture online of this dress, they had a belt and silver boots with it. And I was like, well, now I need a fucking big cowgirl belt and silver boots, which I had neither of. So I went on a mission for both. Ended up getting both of them. The belt story, though, is special. So the belt that I got at a Nordstrom Rack, which is fine. I would have literally paid.
Shout out Nordstrom Rack.
Yeah, for sure. But I would have paid any amount of money for this belt. It just happened that the exact right belt that I needed and wanted happened to be at Nordstrom Rack, except that it was in a large and I needed it in a medium or a small because I'm wearing it like high up on my like dress. So I was like,
and you're not going to eat for a few days leading up to that. Yeah.
So I was like really geeked up on this belt. So I bought it even though it was the wrong size. And then I decide, okay, I'll just like, I'll use the SKU number. I'm not, it's not my first time. So I use the SKU. It's not sold in any Nordstrom Rack stores.
Wait, the SKU, you're talking about the SKU number?
Yeah, SKU.
Okay. Do you know what that stands for?
No.
It stands for something. I just looked something per unit or something.
Oh.
Stock keeping units.
Stock keeping unit.
Oh.
That's
Yes.
correct.
Okay, well, I call it the SKU, though I've never worked in a department store.
That's what I was like trying to figure out what you were saying. The SKU. I was like,
I don't know. In my head, it's the
SKEW.
SKU. So I have the SKU, and I'm like, it's apparently completely sold out online, and it's not sold in any Nordstrom Rack or Nordstrom's anymore. That happened to be a return. So this is my only option for the belt. So I go with plan B, and I go
Track
on.
down the person that bought it and killed them slowly.
No, I go on Amazon and I buy a Leatherman's belt puncher. Because I'm going to make a hole in this belt.
How much was that?
The belt puncher was, I want to say, like $15, $17.
Do you get a discount if you're working in a country western store?
Well, what matter? It doesn't matter because I return everything to Amazon, but we'll get to that. So I was renting from Amazon the belt cutter to get the belt. All right, comes from Amazon. There's no fucking way I can return it. It's in one of these packages where there's like, you got to rip the whole thing apart to get into it. I want to return it because it didn't fucking work. I could not even pierce the skin of the belt. Like, it doesn't work. Doesn't work. So I'm like losing my shit. It's the day of the party, and I'm like, I guess maybe I'll ram a scissor into the belt, but like, I know that's not going to look good.
Even though the belt puncher didn't work, you're like, there's a worse item I could use that'll definitely
like, does
work.
someone have a BB gun? Like, I'm sure this belt is penetrable. So I'm like fucking fucked up over this. I don't understand. I bought a nice one because I was going to return it. It's not like I bought the $7 one. I bought a nice one. So I start calling alterations places because I don't know where else you're going to do this. I call dry cleaners and alterations and tailors, right? So in my calling all these places, I want you guys to understand the wind chill on the night that I'm asking everyone to come out for my birthday was a negative 35 degrees.
That's why I didn't come.
And it was snowing. So it's a shit day leading into we're in the polar vortex. So this is important for the story. So I'm calling.
This is like a Hallmark movie where it's just you and him and a mechanical bull. And you're like, there's room for one. And you get on there.
Well, there was room for two in this fucking belt. So, so I am like, I call this one alterations place, and there's obviously a language barrier, which is often the case in alterations places. We're going usually Russian or Asian. In this case was Asian. And I'm not disparaging that in any way. In fact, they're very good tailors. But this guy says
the
to me...
best way to not discriminate against any group is to refer to them as they or them.
Yeah.
They.
Yes, or as they
compliment.
prefer, those people.
So, all right. So I call this guy and I said, hello, do you do belt repairs? I don't know how you say it, right? So he goes, you come in. And I said, no, I don't come in. Do you have a belt hole puncher? I don't know what you say. You come in. And I said, belt, hole in belt. Like, I don't know. And I have this problem where I have a weird affect where people don't understand me sometimes.
I feel like you went into it saying he's not going to understand you, so you started talking strangely.
I probably. It's not.
Sir, do you have a
all
belt?
over again.
It's like, who is this woman?
So I can tell that it's not getting any better, but he's the only person that's even receptive. Everyone else was like, no, bye, no.
Why don't you call a leather shop? That's all they do.
Well, it didn't occur to me, but then we'll get to that. So this guy says, I basically just get off the phone with him, right? I'm like, hole, belt, hole. And he's like, you come in. And that's the whole conversation. I hang up. Then he texts me, please text me. And I said, oh, okay. Well, maybe he's going to use like a translation device. So I say the same thing I said 17 times on the call. I need a hole punched in a belt. Can you do that? Are you ready for what he responded?
I'm ready. I'm worried we have to cut this.
No. He responded, sorry, the shop is closed as I have moved and retired.
Was that in between? You were the last straw?
What the fuck? He answered the phone like, Wong's alterations. And then...
And
and I think he hated me so much in this convo.
you forced him
Don't
into
call me a
retirement.
lady.
Yeah, you ended.
Why were you asking me to text you?
You think about like his origin story, like him learning as an apprentice and coming up and doing that for years,
Yeah.
dealing with tough customers, dealing with rush orders, for decades. He does this. He's a professional, and then you ended all of that. Like you
Well, I don't know if
were the Ivan Drago to his Rocky.
Is hole punch and belt a code word for something? Like, why is he so scared of it? Like, he can't believe I want a hole punch in a belt. Anyways, to round this story out, I did later figure out by calling a bunch of other places that perhaps a leather shop. But the problem is that all these leather shops were closed, but there was one that was doing a workshop on leathery. Leathery?
I guess, yeah.
Leathery.
I think you're a leatherer if you work in leather, right?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Tanner, all you really needed was an awl. That's the tool that makes holes. AWL and awl.
Well,
you
that's
can get
what
it at
I
Home
have.
Depot.
Oh.
It doesn't. Well, I brought it to the leathery place, and the leathery guy was like, "Are you? You're?" I was like, "I'm interested in learning about your workshops." I was not. He gave me a tour of the studio,
Yeah, like somebody that was interested in the workshop.
and then there was like 7 people working on their leathery. I don't know if that's a word.
What
Anyways,
were they making, like gimp costumes?
some people had cow skin. Some people had. I mean, they were intricate. That some people they had different things. They weren't working on the same thing. It was just people that had paid for space in the leathery. And I'm really going to regret when that's not a word. Is it a word, Chris?
What is it?
Leathery?
No. There's
Damn it.
different kinds. There's tanners and cobblers and
Oh.
bootmakers and sandal makers and leathersmiths.
Okay. Well, in this case,
That'd be a good band
this
name.
guy who was kind of a little bit hot was like, okay, like what else do you want to see? I was like, I'd love to see if you have like a belt puncher.
Yeah.
And I was like, I brought mine. And he's like, oh, that works. And I was like, it doesn't. I said, let me see yours. And he goes, it looks pretty much like that. And I go, well, let me see. Maybe yours doesn't work either. Why don't you try it on this belt?
Are you guys still talking about
Reverse
belts?
psychology.
So
Does
he
your
goes-
belt work?
He goes, do you want another hole in this belt? And I was like, or two more holes. Yeah. And so he puts 2 holes in the belt. And I was like, thank you so much. I'll call you about the leather workshop. So-
And that was so you were just trying, but you said he was cute. That could
He
have
was
been your
kinda
love
cute.
story. He works in leather. You know he's got a belt just for ass slapping. Like that's like.
well, I know where to find him. On Saturdays, he teaches a leather workshop.
Why don't you go get into leather? Maybe that's the thing. You definitely have a social life. That's not to be debated. But my ex-wife met her husband at a swing dancing class.
Oh.
I'm not saying you need to do that,
Uh-huh.
but I'm saying that people meet by like I'm in the chess club or the Green Bay Packers backers, whatever the hell it
Pack.
is. Go Pack, shout out.
I don't.
It's just like you got to find like a community that's got at least one cute single guy.
Right.
But be ready to leave if he leaves.
But like, I have like no arts and crafts skills to speak of. Like, I don't think I would enjoy leathery.
No, but the thing is, I didn't know that I liked. I am a comic. That first of all, it was you were going through your whole birthday rant at the beginning. I'm like, does she realize she's talking to a comic? Do you know what birthdays? How the scars that they do to comedians?
I don't know why it'd be any worse than the one
when you're
on me.
hosting a show and you just want to get to your jokes, and the manager's
Oh.
like, "There's a guy in white hat, Chris. It's his 53rd. You make sure to shout him out." There's a woman. She's 29.
That's so bad.
She's from the Verizon call center. Make sure to shout her out. And you just got to go and you see her table with
Oh,
gifts
no.
on it. And you just
Oh,
want to
no.
do your jokes because you're funny. But you got to go, all right. And is Tina from Verizon here? And all her coworkers, yeah, we're here, bitches. We got. And you're like, I hate life.
Yeah.
And you do that 7 shows,
Yeah.
4 years until you can move up to featuring and then headlining. So every comic has they're so entitled. They're
Yeah,
so like,
it's very
oh, there's 6 of
self-indulgent.
us, so we're gonna take over this whole show. It's her birthday. We got that.
Yeah.
I got it. I went to grad
I
school.
know exactly what you mean. This is why I hate
God,
birthdays.
yeah. So I will just say,
Mhm.
I think you need to find a community, and I would love for our swimmers to
Well-
suggest a potential community.
So we're going to go to break. But before we do, I want to tell you that I said I was going to make some changes. And you know what? We'll go to break and then I'll tell you the
Oh,
changes
what a
after.
cliffhanger! That was
Well, I was like, can I
mean.
squeeze it in? Nah, I want to take time.
Fine.
All right. So here's the thing with me. I usually try and take stock of my life, not at New Year's, but like on my birthday. It's just a depressing day. And so I'm just like, okay, what do I hate about myself? And then
my
I try
God.
and change stuff. So,
What could you possibly hate about yourself?
oh, there's a long list. It starts with that I take Ambien every night, but I just cannot. Last year I gave up Ambien and then Rusty broke up with me and I fucking got right back on that horse.
How was that when you got off?
Well, I just replaced it with, at the time, I did trazodone and then a lot more alcohol. I mean, it wasn't like I.
Well, that's what your doctor recommends.
Right.
He's like, what you want to do is stop your medication cold turkey. Don't be a bitch about it. And then just as you're introducing this new drug into your system and your body's thrown
Yeah.
off, you want to throw a depressant in there.
Mhm.
All right, good.
Yeah. All right. So what I decided this year is I'm going to try and I'm good. I mean, I'm not going to get off Ambien. It's just not going to happen. But I'm going to try and curb my drinking with Ambien because I think that I know it exacerbates. It's much more fun, but it exacerbates the mistakes I make.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think there are people talking to 8th grade classes while wearing shackles that are saying that.
Yeah. Well,
I thought this would be more fun.
here's the thing. So it turns out I can make mistakes on other drugs. So I decided to take up smoking marijuana, which I promised to find a cooler way to say that.
I was about to say, Jesus Christ, it's like
But
a
here's
dare
the thing.
program
I
in
don't
here.
I don't like it at all.
I
But I
feel
was
you.
like, I think that because I don't like taking edibles, so I was like, I think the only move is to buy pre-rolled joints, which just by chance, somebody at my birthday brought me 2 pre-rolled joints because they had already taken 2 pre-rolled joints from my home and they were replacing them. And it wasn't because like Michelle brought me a bottle of mezcal because she knows me, like I don't smoke weed. But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. There's weed now in my home. I'm not going to drink. So for the last 2 days, I did not have any alcohol with my Ambien, but I lit up a joint and just took like a couple drags of it.
Good.
Here's the problem. My tolerance is so insane that the first night I did it, okay. Second night I had to smoke like 5 times the amount. That was last night. And I don't like the way it smells and it's kind of cold outside. Weed doesn't really stay in the house. But so I lit a candle because
that's what you should do when you get high. Light a candle.
Well, I lit a candle.
Near the curtains.
My extremely expensive candle, actually. And when I went to sleep that night, I went upstairs. I have in my bedroom, I have a Dyson air purifier. And all the time when I turn it on, I'm like, this is the biggest. I bought this, like, you could purify an amphitheater with this motherfucker. And why did I do that? Because it was on sale for Black Friday. So this fucking thing is huge. And every time I turn it on, it has a screen. It's always like green, like the safest lit level. And I was like, I don't have any. There's no reason for this thing to be in here. I keep my place incredibly clean. I have no pets. I get my ducts cleaned regularly. Anyways, nevertheless, yesterday I'm going to sleep and I catch it because it rotates and I catch at the corner of my eye. I see red out of the corner of my eye and I was like, wait, why is that red? And then I go over to it and the line is the most extreme red, like emergency red. And I was like, well, I vacuumed earlier. Maybe there's like dust particles in the air.
That would do that?
Never occurs to me that I have a lit candle that has been burning for several hours, 1 floor down. And it's causing so much toxins to go up into my room that the air purifier is like alerting me. Like there's
like a very slow lassie dog. Like just like, hey, you might want to address that.
What do you think I did? Do you think I took this as an alert? No. I thought the red light was annoying, so I turned the air purifier off. Woke up, came downstairs, I was like, what is that smell? My whole home. Because it's like a fucking $80 candle that I burnt to the goddamn ground. So, I mean.
Oh my God. I can just imagine you
treat
treat your carbon monoxide alert the same way.
Yeah. No,
this thing keeps beeping.
I called my umbrella policy today to make sure I had renewed it. I was like, I'm even dumber on not on Ambien.
So are we back to Ambien?
Well, sorry, the Ambien was always in the picture. It's alcohol or no alcohol with the Ambien.
Okay.
But weed and Ambien aren't my friend either. So we're going to work on that. So I ordered Breeze. I don't know if you said that's how BREZ. They do not sponsor this. But Nathan and I got into a conversation, who's my Palm Springs gay that, if you know him, you love him. He was like,
I can't imagine how much fun Nathan is.
He's so much fun. He comes to visit me. So anyways, I ordered, while I was on Ambien, a case of 6 of these, and they're supposed to be mushrooms and cannabis and THC, CBD and THC. I was all excited, and then Nathan's like, yeah, you can only get it online. It's like 2 weeks. It's a $10 fucking shipment. It's so expensive. For 6 cans, guess how much?
60?
40.
Okay.
It's a lot. Anyways.
To have drugs delivered to your house, you used to have to go meet a creepy guy.
Here's the problem. Nathan pointed out, he goes, I don't think those are the psychedelic mushrooms. And I'm like, what?
Oh, no.
They're fucking salad mushrooms. It's lion's mane. I ordered club soda with 2,000 milligrams of lion's mane in it.
Yes, you got played. That's health.
So played.
This weekend, when I was in South Carolina, no names please, I was talking with somebody I love very much, and they were talking about lion's mane. Because I had told them that I had taken mushrooms and it fundamentally altered who I was, and I loved it. And they were like, I can't do that, but I do lion's mane. And I was like, that sounds like a cartoon that like Christian kids have to watch. I don't know what that is. Is it supposed to have the same effect?
No. Like the way that they describe it on the website, they make it seem like, oh, if you drink 1, you'll be a little tipsy. If you drink 2, it says approachable.
Approachable.
Brighter colors, louder laughs, and tastier snacks are often reported. The perfect effect. Our next gen social tonic is the experience you've been waiting for. Each sip is your ticket to bliss. What does it feel like? Most feel a quick, energizing, happy euphoria followed by a sense of relief and relaxation. Unlike traditional edibles, we use fast-acting, micronized extracts.
Yeah, traditional edibles. Do you mean the ones everybody liked?
And then it said, will I get anxious or paranoid? Highly unlikely due to our unique addition of lion's mane extract. So anyways.
Wait, can you read that first part again? Just like the first 2 sentences of that, of the pitch.
Oh, it says THC, CBD, and lion's mane harmonize to elevate every moment. Brighter colors, louder laughs, and tastier snacks.
That part right there, brighter color, louder laughs.
Oh, that got me.
Is like, that's what like women that live in like the country have like over the pantry, like brighter colors, louder laughs.
Yeah.
Sandy
it's a
toes.
scam that makes you think it's going to be psychedelic, but it's not.
Of course.
My dumb ass was like, brighter colors? Psh, colors haven't been bright enough for a while.
Well, Tide says that.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's going to get you
All right, I don't want to run out of time before I get to Cam's email, and it's a little bit long, so bear with me. All right, guys. Cam, thank you so much for sending this in.
Shout out,
you
Cam.
can email us at mysafewordismoreadvice@gmail.com. We're going to solve his problem for him. So he says, 3 months ago, I started at a new gym. One of the features I love is the sauna. A guy I became fairly decent friends with mentioned he was from out of state and didn't know many people, so I thought I'd invite him to go hiking. Admittedly, I wanted to hang out more because he was definitely attractive, but also I feel for transplants, if I move somewhere, I'd want the city to be welcoming to me. So we exchanged numbers, make plans to go hiking. First date we chose ended up rained out, so he proposed the next weekend, and we decided we would just postpone until the next Sunday. Throughout the following week leading up to the hike, he confirmed his plans at the gym twice, and when we parted ways for the week, he said, I'll see you this weekend. Sunday rolls around, I text him and just say, are you still up for the hike? I hear nothing. No response all day. The next day, Monday morning, we find ourselves one-on-one in the sauna, and he acts like nothing ever happened. Talks casually to me and then tells me to have a good day when he leaves. Now he has altered his gym schedule by like 15 to 20 minutes so we don't see each other in the sauna, but we see each other in passing in the main gym.
Take notes, Rusty.
Exactly, right? I hate unresolved issues, and because of the situation, I'm putting a lot of negative thoughts on myself. Like, curious if I'm now the gym creep. Did he think I was pursuing him and doesn't want anything to do with me because of that? To be clear, I try not to make my sexuality the reason for anything bad in my life, why anything bad in my life happens, but I have a bit of trauma, if you will, from my childhood. I kept my head down the entire time. It's terrifying, but I didn't want that fear to chase me into adulthood. So I asked the panel, Corinne, how do I hold back from being petty? Because to be honest, I want to put a nail in his tire. Al, from a hetero male perspective, how can I build trust with straight guys who I genuinely just want to be their friend and not come off as having ulterior motives? Is there a conversation that happens up front? I've had straight guy friends who I've always maintained a great deal of closeness and respect with. But for some reason, I feel like meeting men through the situation of a gym and a locker room where you're exposed, it can come off a certain way, I imagine. All right, so you first. Because well, go ahead. I say you first, now I'm about to say it. Go ahead.
You first. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm going to go.
Well,
Shut up.
I mean, I was of two thoughts. One, are we sure he's 100% straight and not bi?
Oh, I don't know what the sexuality of the other guy. I know Cam is gay.
Right, Cam is gay. Shout out.
Mhm.
But if this guy is gay or bi, I think that there's I say hip hop explains everything. It was all good just a week ago. A lot can happen in a week, especially when you're in a new city, because he's not only new in that gym, he's new everywhere he goes.
Interesting.
So every bar that he goes to where people are like, oh, it's just Corinne again, there's a new person there. So he's always going to stand out no matter where he goes. So that he's in his quinceañera week of being in this city. Like everywhere he goes, he's the new guy, whether he's, no matter how he identifies or who he goes after.
Oh, God, I love that.
And so you have to remember that he may have liked you first, but it's almost like a bid for a house. Who put it in the last bid? So I think maybe he liked you Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, hey, this guy at the coffee shop that makes my lattes slid me his number. And maybe that changed everything.
I think Cam's insinuating that this is definitely a straight man.
That's what I was feeling.
And so he's feeling like, his paranoia is, and I edited his email down a little bit because we didn't have that much time, but he's basically saying like his paranoia is that like, he's felt like, as a kid in the locker room, like other kids when he wasn't trying to hit on them, like he carries that with him. And so I have a couple of thoughts.
Okay.
The first thought that came to mind for me is that I have a lot of lesbian friends and I am introduced all the time at gay bars to lesbians. I have never once been like, shit, I hope they don't think there's anything happening. I hope they're not thinking that they got a chance with me. I never, ever, ever would think that. Like, I have super close friends that are lesbians that I met in a bar, and I honestly, no one really ever asked me, but if they,
I think there's a word there that's
What?
going to change things. Introduced. Because introduced means that there's a third party, so you didn't go there to meet them. It wasn't a one-on-one. If I came
No.
to you at a bar and
Yeah.
I was like, hey, what's up? Do you want to hang out? We've never met. Do you want to go hiking this weekend? Wouldn't you assume that I had some romantic interest in you?
not if you were same sex and I'm not inherently same sex, right? Like, so I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to say is that I don't feel like any advanced normal person upon finding out that you were a gay man would be like, oh no, now I can't go hiking with him because he's going to think I'm interested. Like the second you tell somebody you're straight, that ends. Most people are like, okay. I mean, except me, right? The one guy I tried to turn who told me he was gay.
Right.
Most people are like, all right, cool. Well, that's all she wrote. So I think that maybe it would alleviate some of your concerns if you like actually just had that conversation. Like if you were just like, hey, just FYI, like I'm a gay man. I get that you're straight. I'm not interested. Like something like that.
Yeah, I think that would be
Perhaps.
Yeah, because I would think if anybody approached me,
But then why did he accept?
because that would lean in more to the theory that he is gay,
Maybe
and
he
maybe
is
he
or
met
bi.
somebody. So that's the one path. The other path
Yeah.
is just like anybody, no matter who you date. If somebody approaches you in public, usually they don't go, that girl in the sleeveless sweater looks like she needs to go hiking. You go, do you want, or she looks like she needs coffee. I'm saying that because I want to spend time with you, probably romantically. So if you're not feeling that from me, you don't want to have something weird where like we go out for coffee and you're like, oh, this is my friend Al. And then the fourth one, you come out and I'm naked on your couch.
Right.
To avoid that, you just go, I'm kind of not feeling that. But if Chris introduced us, you'd be like, Chris it triangulates things. So it's not romantic. It's just like, oh, I met this black dude, Al. He seems cool. He's the host of the show. So I think it's just a way to, if you're not interested, no matter if usually it's men approaching women, like, I just want to be friends. And she's like, I've heard that before. So I think maybe this is just that way to avoid drama.
Yeah.
And it does not have to do with the sexuality. It just has to do with, unless we're going to do this, there's no point. It's just like when that guy said, the Christian guy was like, do you want to be friends?
Yeah,
At the
no,
end
I
of
don't.
Right.
Right.
So that's the thing.
So I also want to say that unfortunately, in my head, the person it's incumbent upon saying that their sexuality is what it is and then like throwing it out there is the person that you're inviting. Like if you were inviting me on the hike and I feel like, oh, I definitely know like this is lesbian and she's probably interested in me, I should let her know that I'm not interested in that way, but would still love to go hiking. It would really be that person's responsibility to say that. Since you carry this situation is dead in the water, by the way. This guy's a fucking piece of shit and is what it is. If I were you, I'd make him as uncomfortable. I would come 15, 20 minutes early and sit across from him in the sauna.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like talking about my hiking with everybody else in the sauna. Like I would be as awful to this person as possible. But going forward, I think you might find comfort if when you're meeting new people, which I love that you're doing that because I think that is so kind.
Let's not lose the forest through the trees. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
I love this.
But I think that like if you want like just a note to make sure this doesn't happen again, you can always go, I am a gay man and you are very attractive, but I get that you are not a gay man. So just know that there's nothing, I'm not hitting on you. I just think it'd be cool if you wanted to go hiking. Like if that would alleviate some of your concern.
Right.
Years ago, my shaman that I do ayahuasca with was like, oh my God, you have to meet Carly. She's part of our tribe as well. Like, and she's just moved to Denver. So my shaman actually set us up on like a brunch date. And Carly happens to be a lesbian, but I didn't know that. And I got on the date and she was explaining to me that she had just come off a breakup and it was a woman. And I was like, oh, I'm not a lesbian. And she's like, okay. Like 3 hours later, we had enough drinks that I changed my companion status, booked her as my companion, and we ended up going to New Year's to Tulum together.
And then you guys did a standing 69.
You're right.
Which,
it's something that like
strength.
if you feel, I never feel like you have to get
Who was
that
upside down
out of the way. But it is something. If you get it out of the way, then it's a non-issue. I mean, we shared a hotel room for 5 days and spent New Year's Eve in Tulum together, and like. It's a non-fucking issue.
And this is the last note, and I think I speak for both of us when I say this. You know what? Don't let this situation affect the next situation. I'm so fucking proud of Cam
I
for
know.
stepping to somebody solo. That is
And
the hardest thing to do.
But he really wasn't hitting on him. He was saying like, yeah, he's good looking.
No matter
but
what he did,
Yeah,
he did it.
I know.
And that is 90% of it. Do not go. I hope you look at this as a life victory, bro. Because so many people go through life, no matter how they look, no matter how many people, when they just don't have it in them to approach people. I struggled with that. I had comedy, so when I got off stage, people kind of approached me, good show. That is the hardest thing to do. I hope that you realize you have now opened up the rest of the world. Because if you can do this and then take a little rejection for whatever reason, bro,
I just don't like.
It's just a matter of time.
I don't want you uncomfortable in like your gym space because that's bullshit.
Yeah.
We're gonna get Chris's closing thoughts, but before that, I just want to say that part of my birthday thing is that I am officially quitting all dating apps. So the next episode you hear is going to be the farewell tour of dating apps and all of the last things I did on each of the apps. So get excited for the next episode. Chris, what are your final thoughts?
Well, it was going to be that, but thanks. By the way, good advice to Cam for the most part. Everything, I think, spot on, except for the part where you're like, be all awful to the guy and sit across from him.
I would.
Yeah, you would, but don't do that.
I would take my
Cam.
dick
That's
out.
bad. Just, you don't need to do anything like that. And definitely don't cold cock the guy at the freezer.
Right, yeah. Well, Chris, you stepped on her saying, take your dick out, which I think is good information.
I would take my dick. You know what? If there was any confusion, here's my dick.
I hate that people can't just be like clear and communicate. You know what I mean?
I know.
I was watching some TV show the other day and I was so annoyed by it because the people weren't communicating obvious things they would communicate. And in this case, I grew up in the theater as a straight man. So
yeah.
I constantly had to communicate my
Yes.
preferences to people, but I was always flattered if anyone thought I was cool or good looking or whatever, guy, girl. I was like, great, but I'm straight. You know what I mean? It was like,
yeah,
I don't
totally.
think
Just
any
communicate.
gay guys think I'm good looking. That would be such a big deal for me.
You guys,
because
you should write in.
there's a lot of gay dudes that are really good looking. So if any gay dude, I'd be like, I would tell Sar. I'd be like, yo, these two good looking gay dudes want to take me home.
you're a very handsome man now.
Nah, I'm an older gentleman at this point. But yeah, I'm proud of Cam and I'm proud of us. And here's the little caveat. I want you to get off the old apps and replace them with 2 other apps
of your choosing.
Yes.
Please tune in next week.
Yeah,
because
there's a lot to tell you guys.
There's many reasons why.
Okay, we are way over.
All right, well, let's take us home with this. Guys, we appreciate you guys listening because this is not a podcast about life.
It's a podcast about the leathery.
Yes.